Hi all. Today we'll see about how we can build a dynamic record creation component using LWC and GenAI. So I just created one component named as GenAI record creation and I embedded that component into the utility bar. So this is the component. And if I click on this, it will ask me to enter a prompt here. So I'll just say create me a contact, or I can say create account or create lead, anything. And if I click on submit, so here I said create account. So it will automatically show up a create account screen here. So here I can enter my account name and number, source, revenue, and some custom field which I added here. And if I click on save, it will automatically create an account in Salesforce. And once the account is created, here I can edit the account as well. And it will not only work for account, it will work for all the objects. For example, if I say create me a lead, so it will automatically pop up the lead form. So I'm going to show you how all the fields and objects or all this form is populated. And if I say create contact, then it will populate the contact screen, contact form. Now we used also some AI intelligence here. For example, if I say create con, I'll just say create con. That's it. I'll not mention the full name of the full name of the object like contact or account, and it will use the intelligence, AI intelligence, and it will automatically populate the contact form. So this is where we used some Gen AI. And if I say create account, so I just said create ACC, and you can see the account form is populated here. So we're gonna see how we're gonna build this LWC. I'm gonna start from the scratch here. So the first thing is I'll just close this utility bar for now, and I'll open my VS Code, and I connected my VS Code to this org. This is my org which I'm using. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create a new LWC component here. So I'll gonna create a new LWC component. I'll say GenAI record creation. Yeah. Now my LWC component is created. So this is my HTML file, JS file, and meta XML file. And first thing is I'm gonna concentrate on the UI part. So what I'm gonna do here is I'll create one lightning layout, and this lightning layout I'll make it as multiple rows true. And inside this lightning layout, I'm gonna add a lightning layout item with uh, with size of 8, and padding is around small. So this is my, so I just format this. Yeah. So inside this layout item, I'm gonna add the text box where user can enter the prompt, and I'm gonna create another layout item. So I'll just remove this. Here I'm gonna give the size as 4. Here I'm gonna add my button. So what I'm gonna do here is inside this I'll add lightning input of type is equal to text, and I'll say label is equal to enter prompt. I'm gonna make it as required true, and value I'll store it in prompt variable, and on change I added a event handler called as on prompt change. So I'm going to close this lightning input tag. So my input tag is ready, and I'm going to create a button as well. So I'll say lightning button variant is equal to brand, and label is equal to submit, and on click I'm going to call this on submit, and disabled is equal to button disabled. So right now I'm not going to use this. I'm going to make use of this later. So I'll just format my HTML. So I'll just deploy this LWC component to my org. So just to preview this component, I'll go back to my developer console, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a lightning app. So I'll just name this as GenAI record creation. So this is my lightning app. Okay, let me try with other name. So I think the same name I use it for the LWC component, I think so. So I'll just append app here. So inside this app, just to preview my component, I'm just adding my LWC inside this app. That's it. So now I just added my LWC inside this app. I'll say extends force colon SLDS, and I'll save it. I can click on preview button. Okay, now you can see my UI is much basic here. I just added one text box and a button, that's it. Here what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add a nice header. So what I'm gonna do for header is I'll go back to my VS Code, and here on top I'm gonna add another layout item. So this is my layout item, and I'm gonna give a size as 12 this time. And if you want, you can add some padding. And inside this layout item, I'm gonna add an Einstein header. So this is my title, Gen AI record creation. This is my header. I'll just deploy this and see how this looks in UI. So now it's got deployed. So I'll go back to my app. So this is my Aura application, and just do a refresh here. And you can see this is my header. This is looking good now. And this is my prompt where user can enter the prompt, and this is the submit button. So I'll just do some alignment here. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make this button little downer. So what I'm gonna do here is now. So what I will do here is I'm gonna add some margin here to my button, and I'll just deploy it. Now I'll go back to my Aura application and do a refresh. Yeah, now it looks good. We can also add some icon to my button, to the brand button. So what I'm gonna do here is I'll go to SLDS icons, and I'm gonna select a nice icon here. So maybe I'll select a forward icon. So I'll say utility forward is my icon name. So for this button, I'm gonna give an icon name. I think this is a utility icon. So I say utility forward. I'm gonna deploy this, and I'm gonna do a refresh here. I think now you can see the icon is visible. So what I'm gonna do is I'll make the icon position to right. So what I'll go back to my LWC component. I'll say icon position towards the right. Now deploy it again. Yep. Yeah, I'll go back to my Aura application and I'll do a simple refresh. You can see now the icon is right and my prompt is also looking good. So let's concentrate on JS part now. So this is my JS. My HTML is almost ready. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create some properties. So I'll say prompt to store my prompt, and I'll also create one property to disable the button. So by default the button will be disabled. By default the button will be disabled, and if any prompt is entered, then only it will be enabled. So I'll just go back to this button and I'll say add a disabled property here. And when I'm going to enable the button, whenever the prompt is entered by the user. How can I do that is I'll go to this on prompt change event. So what I'll say is this dot prompt. Yeah. Now if I say if this dot prompt, so here I said if the prompt is entered and valid, I'm say disable the button to false, and if not, make the button disable. So let's see if this works. So I'll just deploy this code, and I'm gonna go to my Aura application and I'll do a simple refresh. And so by default the button is disabled, and if I enter some text, you can see the button is enabled now. And if I remove this, again it is disabled. Yeah, now this is working fine. Now let's concentrate on Apex part. Our UI is mostly done. So what I'm gonna do here is on click of this button. So this is the on click handle. So let's close this. On submit, I'm gonna call my Apex class by passing the prompt to my Apex class, whatever the user entered prompt. So for that, I'll go back to my developer console, and this time I'm gonna create a new Apex class. I'll call this as Gen AI record creation. Yeah. So inside this, the first thing is I need to get some to display the form in LWC. I need to get the objects and the fields, right? So for this, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create a method here which should be annotated with Aura enabled. So I'll say public static void. For now, I'll make the return type as void, and I'll say get metadata details. So it will return me the object name and the fields, the list of fields, and it will accept one parameter that is nothing but the prompt which is entered by the user. Okay. Now here what I'm gonna do here is, so based on the prompt entered, I'm gonna get the object API name of the object. For example, if the user says create account, create ACC. If my prompt says create ACC, so it should return me the object API name of account. And if the prompt says create contact or create contact anything, so it should return me the object API name that is nothing but contact. So here also it's account object name is account. So for example, if I say there is a custom object called as employee, let's say employee is my customer object, and user entered prompt says create me a employee. So it should use some intelligence, it should apply some intelligence, and it should return me employee as my object API name. So this is where we're gonna use some AI intelligence to get the object API name. To get the object API name, we're gonna use this AI intelligence. So if I say create me a employee, so it should return me the employee underscore underscore c, because this is how it works in Salesforce. We need the API name to create any record. And if I say create ACC, it should return me the account API name. So for that, before calling the LLM, what we have to do here is I'll just create one map. So this is of type map of string comma string. So I'll say object API name map here where we are storing the object API names. And inside this, I'm gonna put the label. So this is the label of the object, and this is the API name of the object. Similarly, I'll put two more fields. One is contact, the label of the object, and the API name of the object. And similarly, lead. So for now, I'm hard coding this. So basically, it's nothing but a JSON. So this is nothing but a JSON, a key value pair. So for now, I just hard coded this map. But what you can do is you can render this from custom label. But custom label has a character limit. What you can do is you can create a metadata and get this configuration from the custom metadata. So that's what my suggestion. For now, for the demo purpose, I just hard coded the map. I just making this object API name map where account is my label and value is my object API name. And in the case of custom object, what we have to do here is in the key, it should be employee, which is the label of the object. It can be anything. This key can be anything, but it should be unique across this map. And in the value, we need to store the API name of the employee. Yeah. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make a call to LLM. So LLM, I'm gonna write a prompt. So for example, I'll say my prompt is create ACC, or my prompt is create contact. So my LLM should return me this API name, the API name of the contact. So for that, I'm gonna write a prompt based on the user input provided. Fetch the object name which the user is trying to create. So in this case, contact will be the object name, and search for this map and search for the keys in this map. Get the nearest matching map. For example, con is nearestly matching to this key contact, and get that value and return me that response. So this is where we're gonna write a prompt. So for that, what I'm gonna do here is we can invoke our prompt in many ways. The first thing is you have to enable this generative AI. So if you go to generative AI and if you go to Einstein setup, you can enable this. So you have to enable this first, and once you are done, you can write your prompt in your prompt builder. Also you can write your prompt in your prompt builder and call this prompt builder in from the Apex also. So this is one scenario you can try. And there is also other concept which is called as models API. I'm going to make use of that models API now. So what I'm going to do here is, so this is the models API which I got from official documentation. And basically what it does is we can execute our prompt from Apex. You can see access model API, models API with Apex. So this is the code. So basically what it does is it will take the model name one thing, and we have to give a prompt here, and it will return the result here. So I'll just simply copy this code, and what I'm going to do is I'll go to my developer console and click on open anonymous window, and I'll just simply execute this. So here what prompt I given here is, so you can see this is my prompt. So this is my model name. So we have a lot of models here, so you can try with different models also. We have this default OpenAI GPT-4 Omni Mini, and we have other models also. You can go to Einstein Studio and search for the models. But for now I'm going to use the same model only, and here this is my prompt here. So generate a welcome email for the new developer on the team, and if I execute this, it will automatically generate a welcome email. So I just executed this code. Let's see what is the output. Yeah, I'll just open the debug log, click on debug only, and you can see it really generated a nice email. Now I'm going to make use of this models API to write my prompt and get the object API name. And what I'm going to do here is I'll simply copy this code into one method, one reusable method. So I'll say, right now I'll make it the return type as void. I'll say execute models API. I think in future we might get more some more inbuilt model API, or some kind of a copilot instructions where we can get the matching API name of the object. But for this demo purpose, we're gonna use this models API. So I'll just paste the code which we executed. I'll just do some indentation, and this will accept prompt as the parameter. I'm gonna pass the instead of hard coding the prompt, I'll just replace the prompt here. And if you want, you can remove these comments which are, and I just hard coded the model name, but you can configure as per your needs. You can store this in metadata and what wherever you feel comfortable. So I just removed some comments here, so this will return me a string, and I'm gonna return the result. Whatever the LLM return me the result, I'm gonna return in this method. And if there is any error, I'll just return null. So our reusable method is ready, which will make a call out to LLM. I'll just simply click on save. Yeah, now it got saved. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna write my prompt here. So I'm gonna write a prompt here. So this is my prompt. So prompt, it should provide some good instructions. So I'll just replace this. Yeah. Now this is my prompt to execute. So I'll say based on the user input. So this is the prompts. For example, create con. So this will be the prompt. First, determine the object name the user is trying to create. So we have to get the object name. For in this case, if I say create con, so it should identify contact is my object name. So con is my object name. Then use the identified object name to find the closest matching key in the provided key value map. That is nothing but this map. And I just provided the map in my prompt, and retrieve only the associated value from the map. And here sometimes, right, LLM will returning the, it will return the object API name, but with object API name also it will return some other additional characters or additional formatting. So for that also we can add into our prompt instructions. So I'll say ensure the result strictly contains only the associated value retrieved from the map with no additional text or formatting. So I just given these instructions also. So what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to execute this model API method, and I'm going to pass this prompt to execute to this method. So this will return me the API name of the object. So I'm going to store it in a result variable. Yeah. And at last, I'm going to do a debug. Let's see if this works or not. So let's do a debug of result. Now I'm going to execute this method from an anonymous window. Let me clear this out. Looks like there is an error. Okay, so there is a typo. Yeah, so this is my class name and this is my method name, and I'll say create con. If I execute this, it should return, this debug should print contact, this value, the API name of the object. Yeah, now you can see it returned me contact. Model API response is also contact. And if I tried ACC, it should return me the account. So I'll just simply click on execute. Yep, it returned account. So this is working fine. So we got the object API name. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna return a map in this method. So I'll make use of map of string comma object. So this is to return my output. So I'm gonna return this output to my LWC where I'm gonna invoke this Apex class. So inside this, I'll say output dot put. So I'm not gonna do some error handling now for the demo purpose, but you can do some error handling by adding some try catch blocks or showing a proper error in LWC. So in output dot put, I'll put the object API name, which is nothing but from the result coming from the LLM. Okay, we got the object API name. Now we need to get the fields. So to get the fields, actually, we can get the fields in a lot of ways. For example, I got the object API name. I can get all the required fields using some metadata API, and I can also get the fields from the page layout using tooling API. And we can get fields from in a lot of methods actually. And you can also store those fields in custom metadata and render those fields inside your form. So for the demo purpose, what I'm going to make use is I'm going to create a field set. So I already created few field sets in account and contact object. So I'm going to show you. So I'll go to object manager. So I'll click on account. So you can directly get the required fields and return that fields to the LWC, or you can get the fields from the page layout. Whatever you want to do, you can do that. And here, this is the one thing which I created, and here I just used some naming convention, so it will be used for me to dynamically get the field set name. So for example, if I see I just using some naming convention saying that Gen AI will be my namespace prefix kind of a thing, and this is my object API name. So if I want to create a field set for a custom object, it should be in this format. So Gen AI will be my like a prefix and underscore the API name of the custom object. So employee. So if you create in this pattern, it will automatically, our code is we're gonna make use of our code to be more reusable, and it will automatically fetch the field set of the related object, related custom object, without doing any code changes in future. So this is what the pattern you can follow, or you can create your own naming conventions. So I created this field set, GenAI account, and here I just added few fields: account name, number, source, revenue, and this is one custom field which I added. And these are all the fields which will be populated on the form. And similarly, I created one more field set on contact object, and also I created one field set on lead object as well. If you see, this is my naming convention: Gen AI underscore the API name of the object. That is nothing but the contact. If it's a custom object, give the API name of the custom object. Yeah, you can see first name, last name, and email. Yeah, and similarly, I created one field set on lead object also. I'm going to show you that quickly also. If you go to field sets, yeah, this is my lead. Here I added few fields like first name, last name, company, lead source. Yeah, now what I'm gonna do here is based on the field set, I'm gonna get all the fields. So I have the field set name, I have the object API name, and I'm gonna get the fields, list of fields. So for that, I have one reusable method. I'm gonna make use of that. If you see this class, get field, so basically this is one of the reusable method. It will take the field set name as the input parameter and the object name as the input parameter. So we have the object API name. We're gonna dynamically build this field set name based on the naming convention which we given, and it will return me the list of field API names. So I'll just copy this code and I'll close this class, and I'm gonna copy this method into my Apex class here. So basically what it does is it will get me the list of fields. We have to give the field set name and the object name. So I'm gonna call this method. So what I'll say, I'll remove this debug statements for now. In the output which I'm gonna return to LWC, I'll create one more key value pair to indicate the fields. And here to get the fields, I'm gonna call this method get fields. And here I need to pass the object API name, which is nothing but the result. And before object API name, I need to pass the field set name. Our field set name follows this naming conventions. It will start with GenAI underscore object API name. So here what I'm gonna do here is our field set name is GenAI underscore dynamically binded with the object API name which is stored in result. So that means if I say create contact, the field set name will be GenAI underscore contact. So we already created a field set name with the same name. It applies same for lead also. Now I'm going to return this map to my LWC. I'll simply say return output, and I'm going to change the return type to void to map of string comma object. That's it. Our Apex class is ready. So what I'm going to do is I'll just simply test it from here only. So I'll say create account. That's it. Or create contact. Anything works fine. So I'll simply click on execute. Maybe I'll debug this output once so that I can see the debug information. So I'll do a system.debug output, and once it's saved, let me execute it again. Still saving. Yep, it got saved. Let me execute it again. I'll click on debug only. Yeah, now you can see I got the fields from the field set and I got the object API name. Now I'm gonna use this data in my LWC. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna call my Apex class imperatively from my LWC. So first thing is I think we need to import our Apex class, Apex method. I'll go back to my LWC.js, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna copy the API name, class name, and the method name. So this is a method I'm gonna call from my LWC on click of submit button. So this is the handler for submit button. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna use a try catch block, and I'll just make it as async. I'll create constant result await. This is the method name which I'm going to invoke, and inside this I'm going to pass these parameters. So what I did is I think, yeah, this I can ignore it. Yeah, so what I did is I'm calling this method get metadata details. I'm passing this prompt. So I think the API name is the same, right? So this is the prompt. The parameter name is prompt, and I'm passing this prompt, the user entered prompt, to the Apex class. So what I'm going to do is I'll just do a console.log of this, or else I'll say let result object is equal to, so we are returning a map, right? So json.stringify of result, and I'll say I'll just console this. I'll just save it and I'll do a deploy. I'll go to my our application, do a refresh. I'll just open my inspect, I'll open my console, just clear a console. I'll say this time I'll say create contact. That's it. Create con. I just didn't add any spinner. I'm gonna add it later. But now you can see a response object API name. We got contact and these are the fields. So I'm gonna store this into some properties here. So what I'm gonna do here is, so I'll create few more properties. Object API name one thing and fields is one thing. So I'll just do some formatting. So whatever the response which I got, I'll say I'll assign into these properties. This dot object API name is equal to response object dot object API name, and I'll say this dot fields is equal to response object dot fields. Done. Now when again if they click on submit button, I'll just make these values also as null. So it always pick up the fresh values which return from the Apex. So the reason why I'm adding here is I'm on this page, I entered a prompt and again I entered the same prompt. So again it should take the fresh copies from the Apex. So what I'll do is I'll do a formatting. Yeah, yeah, this is ready now. So we got the object API name and we got fields. Now we will use lightning record form to render the form. So further what I'm gonna do here is I'll go back to my HTML. I'll make use of this lightning record form. This is the syntax. We have to provide the object API name and the fields. So before that I'll go back to my HTML. This is my HTML and what I'm gonna do here is I'll add another layout item. This time I'll remove the margin which we added. I'll say size of 12 this time, and inside this I'll add a lightning card. I'll add some title and icon to the lightning card. So I'll say title as create record, and icon name you can add anything. I'll add the same icon which we added here, standard record create, or you can add your own icon here, that's also fine. Yeah, so inside this lightning card I'll make use of this lightning record form. So I'll just copy this code and paste it inside my lightning layout item. And one thing what I'm going to do here is, when should this layout item should visible, I'll say if true, if the object API name is not null. So I'll just copy the name of the property object API name and paste it here. So here my object API name is object API name and fields is nothing but fields. I'll just remove this records property and I'll do a formatting. That's it. Now I'm gonna simply deploy this code and I'll go back to my Aura application. Yeah, I'll say create ACC, click on submit here. Yeah, we got the response from Apex and you can see the form is dynamically populated. I'll say create con. Yep, contact form is visible. I'll say create lead. Yeah, this is also working fine. So let me try one record here. So I'll say create account. Even though I given a wrong spelling, but it will use some intelligence and it will get the proper API name of the object. So I'll say testing, give some dummy number, click on save. Yeah, it automatically created, and even if I can edit it also. Yep, if I go to my page and you can see this is the account which we created. Yes, and this is working fine now. And what I'm gonna do here is now, uh, if you want to show a toast message once the record is created, you can do that. What you have to do here is you'll have to add this event on success, call this function called as handle success, and here you can add this handle success event, and here you can call your toast message, or you can simply say record created, anything you can say. So for now, I mean, I'm just previewing it in our application, right? So basically in our application, the toast message will not fire. But if you render it from the utility bar, the toast message will fire. So that is the reason I just added an alert statement here. So it will say record created. And you can do some advancement here, like if the record is created and record ID exists, you can change the message to record updated or something like that. So this is fine. And I'll just open this. Now it should populate me that alert. Let's test that. So I'll click on submit. So it will automatically populate, and you can see all the properties are by default. Last name is all selected as mandatory. If you have any pick list, if you have any lookup fields, all will be populated. No need to write code for each field. So I'll say test contact and simply click on save. Okay, our alert did not populate it. Let's see what is happening, or maybe I didn't deploy it or what. Handle success is the one which we are calling. Yeah, now it is deployed. Let me do a refresh again. I'll say create con. Yeah, my form is getting populated. I'll say this. Yep, now you can see the alert. You can show your toast message also, that is also fine. And the next thing is you can do some UI improvements. What I'm gonna do here is I'm not gonna concentrate much on UI. The basic thing what I'm gonna do here is, if I go to lightning record form, we can use this columns is equal to 2. We can change the mode also to read only, edit, whatever you want, but I'll just say columns is 2. This is one thing I'm gonna do. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add a spinner. So I'll say lightning spinner, and I'll use this is loading alternative sizes, alternative test is loading, size is medium. So I'll create this property. So by default spinner will be false. So whenever we are making a call to Apex, we'll make this spinner as true. Once the Apex server call is completed, I'm gonna call a finally block here. Inside this finally block, I'm gonna stop my spinner. That's it. So we are done. Yeah, let's deploy this code now. You can have some error. So there is on load. You can call some handler functions. We also have handle error also, which can show the error message and toast message. You can try those options as well. So my code is deployed now. I'll just do a refresh on my component, and I'll say create an account. Yeah. Now you can see the spinner is getting loaded, and now I can see account name, all these things are populated. I'll say testing 123. Use some, you can see the pick list values. This is the custom field which we added. Click on save. You can see the record got created, and once the record got created, it's in edit mode. You can edit the record as well. Yeah, that's it. We are done with the LWC component. And right now we enable this in the Aura application, but what you can do here is you can also see we given the columns as is equal to 2. That's the reason the fields are showing in 2 columns. And you can embed your component into the utility bar also, which I did. So if you see, this is the component, previously built component which I embedded in sales app utility bar. So for that, what you have to do here is, so you can simply use this code to expose your component into utility bar. So I'll just do the same, and I'm going to deploy this to our. So once this target is available, you can embed your component into the utility bar as well. And yeah, thanks for watching.